Alright guys, Darren from FBA Elite and welcome back to another video. So in this week's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 top methods that you can use to help you with your Amazon FBA product research and hopefully to find your very first Amazon FBA product. So I've worked with hundreds of new Amazon sellers over the past few years, and the one area that almost all of them get stuck is trying to find their first product. So with these methods, I want to give you guys some ways to come up with ideas for finding products in the first place, and secondly, how to analyze those. So I've got 5 different methods to go through, and a lot of these overlap as well. So some of these methods are about coming up with ideas, and then the other ones are then taking those ideas and diving down into them further. I'm also going to be covering the one technique that I use again and again to find profitable products for my Amazon FBA business. So this first technique is super simple. We're not going to spend very long on it. All we're going to do is take advantage of Amazon's own category-based Autosuggest. And the reason this is so powerful is it is based on Amazon's own data, and any suggestions will be based on the search volume. So the ones at the top of the list are the most searched products on Amazon. So what I'd recommend anyone to do that is struggling for ideas, just come onto the search bar and then just put in some random letters. Now by random letters, I don't just mean like slam a load of keys on the keyboard, but do a consonant and then a vowel, or a vowels and a consonant, so that Amazon can suggest a word for you. So for example, you might do B and then A, see what comes up. Baby wipes, baby monitor, bath mat, backpack. And straight away, we've got possible things that we can click off. So you might look on, let's have a look at bath mats. So that is just one super simple technique that you can use. Now taking this a bit further, there's most of you guys are going to be using Helium 10. There is the search expander on Helium 10 as well. So if you make sure that is enabled, when you do this same query, so if we go back to Amazon now, once this is reloaded, we go back to Amazon, when we start typing bath mat, the search expander is going to come up with lots of other suggestions for you to consider and also show you the search volume. And this is where this is so powerful. If you're struggling for ideas, you can literally pop in one word like bath. Not only do you get the Amazon Autosuggest in this, but you get all of the extra data from Helium 10 as well. And you can look at the search volume to get different ideas. So for example, their bath tray at 12,000 search volume, you might click into this and then you jump into X-ray and you see what the stats show for this particular niche and whether it could be a viable product for you. So if we just take a very quick look at this to give you an idea of how easy it can be, I'm not saying it's easy, but how quick it can be, you then analyze this niche. This niche has got some decent demand depending on obviously your own criteria. I've covered how I do analysis in previous videos, but this is just one of the methods you can use, either the Amazon Autosuggest or using the search expander with Helium 10, combining that to get these additional keyword ideas for you guys to look into. So that's the first technique. The second one is using basically database driven software. Now personally, I am not a fan of using this type of search method, as generally people all tend to search for the same criteria. So often they're going to find the same products. But if you use this in a way that not everyone else is using it, then you have a better chance of getting product ideas that you can either look into directly or use those product ideas to lead onto other products. So if I was going to use something like Blackbox from Helium 10, I'd be searching amazon.co.uk, as that's where I sell. You'd then pick yourself either a single or multiple categories or subcategories. So let's just take baby products. That's something I've been looking a lot into at the moment. And I won't populate all of these filters, there's just a few that I would focus on. So I'd put a maximum number of sellers of 2, as I want to find private label products. And if there's more than 2 sellers on that listing, they're probably not private label products. So that's what I want to focus on. Sales, I want a minimum price point of £15. Anything lower than that, you're going to really struggle to make a decent return on Amazon, as you're going to lose over 30% of that in Amazon fees, plus you're going to be paying for pay-per-click as well. So if anything below £15 is going to be very tight. Really, I'd recommend £20 upwards, but I'm going to use £15 in this example. Review count. Now, a lot of people would come along and say, right, I want a product with a maximum of 100 reviews. So I'm going to do the opposite. I want a minimum of 100 reviews. Let's kick out all of the products that everyone else is finding, and I'll put a minimum of, say, 300 reviews. So it's a product that's been established for, if it's got 100 reviews, a good few months, but it's not been established for years. So 1 to 300 can be a reasonable bracket to use for that. I used to use monthly sales, but more recently I've been focusing on revenue. So let's try and find a product selling somewhere between £2,000 to £4,000 per month. And if you put your profit margin at somewhere around 30%, that gives you an idea of what your revenue target should be. And the shipping size, the only ones I avoid are large oversize. So small oversize is fine, small letter, large letter, small envelope, standard envelope, large envelope, they're all fine, standard parcel, standard oversize maybe, extra large envelope and small parcel. So to include all of those. Weight I would leave blank. I want to see what products come up and I'll make my own decision from that. And that is the only criteria I'd probably enter. And you can tweak this to play about, click search, and we should get a list of products that match that criteria. Like I say, you can either research these directly, or you can go into related products or products that are frequently brought together, or one of the other techniques that I'm going to show you later on in this video to get other products ideas. So let's just take a quick look at some of these products before we move on. We've got a portable changing mat, which actually I nearly ordered in bulk a couple of years ago. I think the only reason I didn't proceed with that in the end was the profit margins were a little bit too tight. We've also got this animal toddler backpack here, so let's take a closer look at that, as that looks quite interesting. Certainly something that you could customize with a unique design and maybe add additional functionality or bundle something in to help you stand out. So what's the main keyword for this animal toddler backpack? So what I would do with this to make sure I'm looking at the correct keyword, first make sure you're not in a subcategory. So at the moment we're in baby, so go back to all departments, and then I'll start typing in toddler backpack and use the search expander to get some ideas. So it looks like we have kids backpack at 3,000 search volume, but we've got toddler backpack just under 4,000. You've got toddler backpack for boys and girls, which is much lower, and toddler backpack with reins less than 1,000 as well. So I would say that toddler backpack is the best keyword to use. It is the highest volume and it is the most relevant as well. So let's put that into the search for all categories. And then we're going to run X-ray from Helium 10 to analyze this niche and see whether it has any potential. And obviously the potential of this niche would depend on your own criteria. What is a good product for me will be different for you and vice versa. So for those of you that haven't watched me before, I'm just going to very quickly analyze this niche to give you an idea of how I would go about this. So the first thing I look at is the search volume. And then I look at the search volume history to see if this product has any seasonality issues. Now there is a spike here in August and September, which makes sense as that is peak back to school season. So the rest of the year doesn't seem too bad. There's not huge drop-offs. The key thing is, as long as you're analyzing it at the correct time. So if you're analyzing this niche in September or August, you need to be aware you're analyzing it in peak season. But we're out of season at the moment. So as long as we analyze it here and base our sales and ordering on this for this period, that should be okay, as I don't mind a seasonal product or seasonal peaks as long as it sells quite well all year round, which it does. This has a search volume of 3,000 to 5,000 most of the year. So that's what I'll be looking at. Whereas if things really dropped off, then I would avoid it. I don't like seasonal products that don't sell well throughout the rest of the year. So seasonality is the first thing I check. The next thing I do is from left to right is make sure first all of the products are comparable. So you can do this by going through the search results before you open X-ray, or just quickly scroll down to make sure these are indeed all kids backpacks, as sometimes Amazon will mix up the results. The other thing to do is hit the filter results button here and make sure you hide the sponsored products, as they just make it harder to analyze the niche fully. So we've got rid of all of the sponsored products, and now we can just analyze the organically ranked products. So from left to right, we know they are comparable. No one is dominating from a brand perspective. You've got two Peppa Pig ones in there, but I would only normally get concerned if you're seeing kind of 5+ from the same brand, but even then that wouldn't necessarily completely put me off. It would depend on all of the other criteria as well. Price point looks okay. We've got some of them at the lower end, you know, below £15, but there are some closer to that £20 mark, which is where I'd want you guys to be pushing for if you are launching a product on Amazon. £15 is going to make things a bit tight, so £20 would be the ideal. The next thing you can do is either analyze the sales or revenue, or do them both together. So I was looking for a product that did £2,000 to £4,000 in revenue per month, and I want to see approximately 5 sellers doing that already to show me there's a good landing zone for me to target. So we've got one here at 2.7, one at 4.1, one at 2.2, one at 2.5, one at 2.2, one at 3. That's pretty good landing zone for me. Things don't have to be exact. You know, one at 4.2 or one at 4.157 is close enough if my criteria was 2,000 to 4,000. So I will count that. So we do have a good landing zone to aim for here. And to achieve this type of revenue, somewhere between 150 to 250, more realistically 150 to 200 units is what I would be aiming for. So quite a nice niche for many new sellers to look at, as you don't have to order huge amounts of stock for something like this at 150 units per month. maybe you're going to be ordering 500 units, as that would last you probably around about 3 months. And the next thing I like to do is see at least 1 or 2 GB sellers. If they're all CN China sellers, often it suggests that profit margins are too tight. But if you've got a couple of GB sellers in there, it normally shows it is possible to make a profit in this niche. Have a quick look at the fees on this sort of product. Everything seems about right, about a third of the overall selling price. If it's a lot more than a third of the overall selling price, then you need to be very careful about the size and dimensions and weight of that product. Also take a look at the ratings column here. I don't want to see too many in the 5-star territory, which is 4.8 or above. So of these top 10, we've got 1, 2, 3 with 5 stars, which in some niches I'd be more concerned about. But I think in this particular niche, people are going to be buying predominantly based on design, on what they want to look like, more so than just on the rating. So again, this will depend on the actual type of product. The review count here, this is very positive, seeing someone with only 49 reviews as organically the 3rd position. So I want to see someone in the top 15 results or so with double figure or low 3-figure reviews. And if you scroll down a bit further, we've got here at 133 and one at 260. So that's a promising sign as well. I'm just scrolling over to the right-hand side for the final check to make sure we've got some new listings in the past year or so. We've got one there in 2022, another one there. So overall, this niche does tick quite a few boxes. Like I said, the price point is a little bit tight, but if you can certainly push up towards that £20 or above, pretty good. So in the space of 5 to 10 minutes, we've actually found one potential product that you might want to look into a bit further. So that was the second technique, and that is using something like Blackbox to do a database search. So this is Blackbox from Helium 10, but of course there are other ones you can use. As I said, when I started this technique, I don't generally use this method, but it can be used, especially if you're struggling with your product research. It can certainly give you some ideas for you to move onwards from. So that was idea number 2. Now this next one is super simple, and hopefully all of you have got one of these, and this is your Amazon order history. And the reason that this method is so powerful is most of us have Amazon order histories going back many years. I've got 20 years of Amazon order history, which is kind of crazy. So I can click on any of these years, look at the products I ordered in that year, then have a think about whether actually I could take that product and enhance it. And the good thing about this is because you've bought this product in the past, you've probably got it around your house still somewhere, you've got it in hand, you can see how that product can be improved. So your order history can be a source of hundreds, if not thousands, of potential products that you've got in your house that you can take a close look at and see whether they're a viable opportunity that you can investigate further. So that's technique number 3. Now moving on to number 4, and this is using keyword research software to basically generate ideas for you to look into further using something like X-ray to analyze. So if we came to Magnet from Helium 10 and we were looking, let's say the backpack, for example. I'm not going to put toddler backpack in as I want it to be very generalized. So I'm just going to put backpack in, choose get keywords. Now, normally you'd use this tool for helping you optimize your listing or doing PPC research, but this can be super powerful to help you with your product research as well. So I put backpack in as the keyword. Now, the first thing I want to do is put in a minimum search volume. So if it's going to be a decent keyword for Amazon, I want it to have a minimum search volume of 1,000. So let's apply that filter. And then I'm going to go down and look at this keyword list and see if there's any types of products that maybe I haven't considered that are related to backpacks. So ignore these. These are just brands: Osprey, Hype, Puma, Under Armour, etc. Then we've got a hiking backpack. So instead of a toddler one, you've got a hiking one there. A mini backpack, a laptop backpack. So you can see you've already got 3 completely different product ideas. So we put backpack in, but you might decide actually hiking with a pretty much a 6,000 search volume. If it's something you know a lot about, you might be able to develop the best hiking bag about, rather than someone who knows nothing about hiking. So think about your individual skill set, experience and knowledge and what you can add to these products. A laptop backpack, maybe you see a lot of faults with the laptop backpacks that are out there and how you can develop those. A mini backpack. So this is where this can be really powerful, because a lot of people get stuck on product research because they just get bored. They can't come up with new ideas, and using any of these 4 techniques so far will help you come up with fresh ideas that will help you stay interested in product research. And that is half the battle with product research, actually sitting down and doing some, because it's really just a numbers game. If you can commit half hour to an hour a day for at least a couple of weeks, I'm certain you will find a number of great products. And then moving on to the final technique, and this is my absolute favorite technique. And this is the method I use again and again. So you can use any of those other 4 to start this method and then you just go down the rabbit hole. So let's take the toddler backpack as an example again here. What I would do is analyze these products to look for an existing listing that is doing well, is a private label seller, and then I'm going to take a look at the other products that that seller is selling. So all of these, if we scroll to the right hand side, should be FBA private label sellers. So we can see here they're all FBA and they've all got the their own brand names on them. So I want to go into each one of these stores, ignore all the sponsored listings. I want to go into each one of these stores and see what other products they are doing. So let's click on this one here, Zycac, if that's how you pronounce their brand. So you open up the product, and I call this method the store radar method, and I've been using this for years, and I've talked about it in many, many videos. And on the right hand side, you have their buy box here. And it says here, dispatches from Amazon sold by Sitong Mall. So despite the fact their brand name is Zycac, the actual seller is called Sitong Mall. So let's click on there and then scroll all the way down to the bottom. And it says here, see all the products currently offered by the seller. And then you can see all of the products this seller is selling. And the reason I like to use this method is if you pick a product that is already doing well, chances are that seller has other products that are also doing well. And you can then run X-ray on their store and see how all of their products are doing. So what have they got here? They've got their backpack doing 350 units, and below that, what's this? A printed harness cushion. Let's open this up in Amazon and see exactly what it is. So this title is keyword stuffed from an SEO perspective, but they forgot to make it human friendly. That's one mistake don't make with your title. Yes, you need to have the right keywords, but it also needs to be easy for a human to understand. So I think it has to be bot and human friendly. So let me just read this again, and I'm going to do a search for the main keyword and see what results we find. So remember, we have to change the category back from the subcategory to all departments. And this, by the looks of it, is a booster seat, but it's for a dining chair, not for a car. So we have to be very careful we are using the correct one. And Search Expander has done its job again. Booster seat for dining chair at 4,000 search volume, which from what I'm seeing, having a very quick look through now, that is the best keyword to use. So let's take a look at dining seat booster cushions and see what we get. The first thing is the price point seem pretty good. And while I'm scrolling down here, I'm just seeing if these are comparable. And the majority of them are. Some of them are slightly different solutions. So I'll keep that in mind when I'm doing my analysis. Maybe I won't consider these two as much as I will the ones that are clearly just booster seat cushions. So let's open X-ray on this and see what the stats show for this particular niche. So from left to right, we know that most of them are comparable. Search volume, put that over the 1 year view. Fairly consistent most of the year with a small drop off in the summer months. I wonder why that is. That's certainly interesting to observe. So from left to right, all comparable. A few from one particular brand, but no worries there. Price point is a little bit better than the toddler backpack, with a few of them being a bit more expensive. Sales and revenue are less consistent, so we don't have a clear landing zone here. Let me just filter out the sponsored results again, just focus on the organic. So that one, which is a different style, is smashing it with 20 grand of sales. These cushions are still doing pretty well at 6, 9, 2, 2, pretty much 2, and then 1. So the landing zone isn't as obvious with this product. I think if I was coming into this niche, I'd be aiming for probably close to 2, because you've got these you've got 3 products here. I'd like to see maybe 1 or 2 more to have a clearly defined landing zone, but it looks like you could aim somewhere around the 2 grand mark, selling around 100 or so units per month. So that's how I'd analyze that. We've got 1 seller from the GB there, 1 AMZ, which isn't a problem having 1, actually 2 there with that one at the top. But overall, no big problem there. Scrolling further across, no one's averaging 5-star, which is a good sign. We've got ones with low 3 figures, a single review, and double-digit reviews on the first page. And going over to the right-hand side, we have only 1 in the past year or so that's been listed. So it does maybe suggest it's a bit more difficult to get into this niche, but at the sales level here, if you come up with a good product, I think you could easily get ranked well within this niche, as you haven't got to outsell that many people to get ranked. But overall, the main reason I'd probably avoid this niche is the demand isn't spread out well enough what I would like to see. It's very top heavy, and then it gets very sporadic, so it makes it much more difficult to predict exactly where your landing zone is going to be. But certainly an interesting product nonetheless. And then what you can do from here is just repeat this. So find another seller that's doing well. So we've got a cash here. Let's just click onto their listing. I'm going to do exactly the same. Go over to the buy box. We're going to click onto their sold by name. And then we're going to scroll to the very bottom, click on the see all products currently offered by the seller. And then we're going to run X-ray again. And this store rater technique is my favorite. It's so easy to do. And you'll never run out of products, because every time you finish analyzing one product, you're going to find another seller and you're going to repeat this. And funny enough, we've just found splash mats, which is a product I covered in detail in one of my videos, probably a year or so ago now, as I come super close to launching this particular product. So this niche is quite interesting for you guys to look at if you want a good example of a niche for potential new sellers that don't have a huge budget. So that's 5 methods that you guys can use to keep your product research interesting. Hopefully it will help you to find profitable products to sell on Amazon. Now, a lot of the techniques that I covered in this video do require software, and my recommendation is Helium 10. If you do use that, use discount code FBA Elite 20, and that will save you 20% off every month. So you can see it brings it down from $99 a month to $80 a month. Or if you pay annually with that discount code, it will save you 25% off for the entire year. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, I'd appreciate you scroll down and hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see 6 of the products that I found using these techniques, I'm going to pop up a video now, and I'll see you guys over there.